In this lesson, we're going to talk about importing graphics into Photoshop. So as you can see here, I've created a document for myself, and it's always a good idea to just create the document size that you need to end up with rather than starting with an image and resizing it. So the way you can do that is anytime you create a new document, you're going to get the options of setting width, height, and resolution, as well as color mode. I've already done that. But if you ever need to go back and change it, you can just go to image size and make those changes here. For color mode, you need to go to image mode and set it here. Let's make sure we're in CMYK. Okay, so I have opened another window, this image of this young student. So I'm just going to select all by hitting Control A, Control C to copy. I'm going to go back to this image and hit Control V to paste. Now, as you can see, it pasted the image of this young man in the document, so I can go ahead and implement him into my layout. The thing is here is that since I simply just copied and pasted this image in here, if I resize it, let's say I make him really tiny and then hit enter and then try to make him bigger again, you can see that the quality has gotten quite a bit worse. Right? So the option you have here is you can paste the same, I'm just going to paste the same guy here, and then instead I'm going to go, let's rename these so it's a little less confusing. I'm going to call this one Smart Object. And I'm going to right click on this layer, oops, and say Convert to Smart Object, and you can see a little icon appears here. So now, let's change this to multiply so you can see this guy behind it, so I can use him as a comparison. It's about the same size. Right, and so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shrink him down real tiny, and then I'm going to make him bigger again. As you can see, there is no decrease in quality. That's because what Photoshop is doing is it's actually hiding that original file inside this layer. So if I double click on this, it'll open up that image that is kind of in a, it's in a composition inside a composition. So now I can make changes to this, like let's say I want to give him a green overlay. So I'm just going to dump some color on here, set it to screen. And now what I want to do is I want to hit Control S to save it, right? So it's saving that smart object. Now if I go back to my original document, you can see that it's been updated, right? So that is a great way to kind of implement objects into Photoshop. This is just a way to kind of preserve that quality. It's also called non-destructive editing. So like let's say, let's undo that. I can just open this back up. Delete that layer, save it, and it's going to go back. So now I could even like apply that color overlay as a layer style. As you can see, it kind of cuts into him, but if I double click on this to open the smart object, you can see that the object is exactly how I imported it. So this is a good way to kind of use non-destructive editing. Let's get rid of that color overlay. I could also use it as, like, let's say the reason that green overlay was giving me issues is because of that white background. So I could just, I strongly advise using better tools than the magic wand, but just for this demonstration it'll be fine. So let's say select inverse. I'm just going to add a layer mask. Save it. So just to give an example, I'll just put a gray background so we can see. Oops, set him to normal. So now you can see that he is removed from the background, unlike this gentleman here. So those are some good ways to kind of import images. Now we're going to take a look at vector objects from Illustrator. So In this window here, I just have a logo, and I'm just going to select everything. I'm going to Control-C to copy, and I'm going to go back to my Photoshop document, and I'm just going to paste. Now when I do that, I have some options. I have Smart Object, Pixels, Path, and Shape Layer. I'm not going to get into Path and Shape Layer right now because that's kind of getting into vector objects in Photoshop, and we'll cover that down the road. We're going to look at the top two, Smart Object and Pixels. Pixels is kind of what we did the first time with this image of this graduate, is when, if you paste it as pixels and you scale it down, you can't scale it back up without getting a loss in quality. But I can paste it as a Smart Object. All right, so now let's move him out of the way so we can see this. Now you can see it looks fine, but the difference here is that when I double click on this, it's actually going to open it back up in Illustrator. And where are you? There it is. So here I could make any number of changes I want. Let's say I didn't want the crest, I just wanted everything else. So I'm just going to go here, hide it, and then I'm going to save it. Or if you close it, it's going to prompt you to save it. So now if I go back to my Photoshop document, you can see that it's updated. And again, this is a great way of keeping your edits, importing your images in a way so that you can implement these non-destructive strategies, so you can maintain the original quality of your images.